Guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to talk about 7 practical ways to get your work done. Number 1 is the 5-second rule. So when your alarm goes off, do you snooze it or get straight out of the bed after your alarm? Pause this video and let me know in the comments. So well, if you are a snoozer, the 5-second rule will help you get out of the bed in just literally 5 seconds. The 5-second rule is the reason behind the success of motivational speaker we all know and we have heard about, Mel Robbins. You might have heard her motivational snippets either on reels or on shorts. She said that whenever I was supposed to do a particular task and I was procrastinating it, I literally counted down from 5 to 1 and get straight in the task. So next time your alarm goes off, don't snooze it, but count from 5 to 1 and get straight out of the bed. And apply this trick for each and every task you have to do. Because in psychology, it is said that we always want to be happy now, and we trick our mind into saying that completing this task would be difficult and boring and it will require my attention. So instead of completing the task, you are happy with thinking about the task. To become the person you want, you need to force yourself to do things that you hate doing. And it's majorly the start of any task, which is actually the most difficult part. And then when you get into the flow and the process, you reach towards the end of that particular task. So do a countdown of 5 and get straight into the task. This is exactly what I did before starting this particular video. This is a very effective way to get your work done throughout the day and not waste time in procrastinating. Now let's move on to the way number 2, that is the triage system. So the roots of the triad system comes from medical sciences and now is applicable in design thinking and even in management. Let's understand how did this triage came to understand how it works so effectively. So while Napoleon was campaigning in 1801, it ended up in fierce destruction. A fifth of French troops and a third of his own army died in the entire campaign. So Napoleon ordered his team to investigate into why this was happening. The result was poor medical aid in the campaign, despite of having good medical facilities. So he ordered the triad system to be implemented from the next second, where the wounded were classified into 3 scenarios and a checklist was given for each of the 3 different scenarios to follow to the medical system. So the scenario number 1 was, if the wounded will survive without help. If yes, then X was supposed to be done, and if no, then Y was supposed to be done. Scenario number 2 was, will the wounded die despite help? If yes, then the subtasks were allotted, and if no, the tasks were allotted, which was supposed to be followed by the entire medical team present at the campaign. And the last scenario was, will the wounded survive with help? Then all of the procedures were listed down to be done by medical team. And to treat and heal any wounded, there were no precursors. They would also treat the French troops and they would also treat their own army. So the Napoleon triad system proved to be so effective and successful that it ended up saving 90%. And since then, the triad system is applicable a lot in decision making and design thinking. So the next time you find yourself in a situation which is burning, figure out scenarios and figure out what could happen and your approach to it. This eliminates thinking that is involved in while making decision, because you now have a prescription of what is to be done and what is not supposed to be done in every situation possible. So ever since I've started implementing this triad system in my own life, I have moved away from taking decisions emotionally and started taking decisions more practically. Moving on to the next one is to make effective to-do lists. Here is a correct way of making a to-do list that ensures the work actually happens. Number 1 is to create the to-do list not in the morning of the day but the previous night. And in the to-do list, have no more than 6 tasks. Then when you create the to-do list, decide the time it will take to complete each task in your to-do list, and also rank them if they are easier or tougher ones to do. So once you have the task that you have to do and the amount of time it will take, you will have a brief idea of whether or not this could be completed in just one day. After that, schedule blocks in the day wherein you will be doing all of these tasks together. So here's how to club the tasks. Try to do similar tasks together in one block, because this will improve your efficiency and you'll be able to do more in the less time. Also, it is advisable to do the toughest tasks in the first half of the day when your energy is high, and take up all the tasks whose priority is low and are easiest to do in the second half of the day, depending on your energy levels. This will ensure that you complete all the tasks on time and will be able to give the energy that it is required. This is a very effective way to create a to-do list, and once you actually get into the habit of creating your to-do lists like this, it will take you no more than 10 to 15 minutes on the previous night to create this particular to-do list, and the next morning when you wake up, you will not have to decide what to do, and you will be able to use that energy in completing the task rather than deciding what is to be done. Try this method of creating to-do lists and see how effectively you're able to complete your tasks the next time. Let's move to the fourth way, which is having an agile approach to things. What exactly is agile? We've heard a lot about the agile approach, but today we will see how we can implement it in our daily day-to-day tasks. So the agile approach has a lot of intermediate steps wherein you do a particular step and then take feedbacks, review, take decision of whether or not this particular approach or a step in the approach is proving to be effective, and if not, what is to be done. If the approach is to be pivoted or new elements are to be brought in. Agile approach works with the assumption that you can't predict reality, because things never turn out the way we want them to be. So it's best to have an agile approach and still get the tasks done. So I'm going to be talking about a very simple example to help you explain the agile approach. Let's say it's dinner time, you're hungry and you're bored and tired of ordering it online. So you decide to eat healthy and you decide to make a healthy sandwich for you, which you want to savor it with your favorite show. So you head to your kitchen, open the fridge and see all sorts of veggies in your fridge, but you see that you have no bread. So you decide to saute all of the veggies that are there in the fridge and eat it for dinner. So you cut all of the veggies, prepare meal prep for the entire salad, and when you put it on the gas, you remember that gas was supposed to be off for today. So what do? So you make yourself a cold salad with lots of salad dressing and eat it for dinner. So when we started, we wanted to eat healthy and not order online. So the goal is achieved no matter the means. So that's how the agile approach is. So you don't fixate or stick to your plan A, but tweak depending on the situation, but still end up achieving your goal. That's exactly the agile approach that you can adopt even in your work. Fixate on the goal and don't fixate on the process. Be little agile in the process. Let's move on to the next one, that is having routines. So when we talk about routines, it makes us think about the word boring, automated, and a hamster wheel. But there's more. Having a daily routine helps us to get things done on autopilot without even the need of taking decisions or thinking. And we work the best when we are not thinking. So daily routines are something that one should have to get things done, to get them in the flow of doing things. Having and building a routine seems easier, but what's difficult is sticking to it. Daily routines are boring, mundane, and you might not look forward to them on some days, but it's showing up on those days when you do not want to. That's what matters the most and hits the needle. How do you stick to a routine? Have courage, strength, and concentration to be able to choose the daily routine over distractions. Once you get into a daily routine, do it even on a Sunday or even on a Monday with same zeal and enthusiasm. These routines could be daily, weekly, or even quarterly. It totally depends on your work and workflow, but these are the holy grails that will help you reach your goal. Let's move on to the next one. I'm sure you might have had a lot of ideas and you might have been unable to decide which idea to take upon and how to pit ideas against each other. So here is a scientific way to pit ideas against each other and choose the best alternative. So have no more than 3 ideas at once and decide 4 or 5 parameters that you want to pit these ideas against. These parameters should cover all aspects and should be fair to all of the 3 ideas. So once you've decided the parameter, I highly recommend doing this on an Excel sheet so that it happens with ease and you'll be able to visualize choosing the best decision from among the 3. So once you decide the parameters, try to rate them on the scale of 1 to 10 on each of the parameters. And once you have scores for each of the parameters for all of the 3 ideas, and when you total it, you will be able to get to the best alternative. So when you put a number to any idea or a parameter, that is when we're able to judge which one is more practical to do and impactful to do. And the total score actually helps us tell the score for it. If you want to see an example of it, I've done a video over here, which is the Kindle versus reading physical books versus reading the Kindle app. I've decided the 5 parameters where I'm pitting these 3 modes of reading and giving them scores, and finally coming to a conclusion of the best reading mode to develop the habit of reading. So if you take decisions based on this particular system, you'll be able to never take a decision that is faulty. Try this the next time when you are confused as to which idea you should be taking. The last way is a little contradictory to this particular video, but I think is the perfect way to end this particular video. And that is the law of reversed effect. Alan Watts, in his book The Wisdom of Insecurity, quotes, "When you try to stay on the surface of the water, you sink. And when you try to sink, you float." To achieve a goal, sometimes all that you need to do is do the opposite of what you think you should be doing, or even not do anything at all. This often happens that when we are too dogged into our pursuit, or when we are too desperate to achieve a goal, the further the goal retreats away from us. That means that now may not be the right time to chase it. So instead, you should leave the goal alone for some time and let it happen organically if it were meant to be. I know this is something which is really heartbreaking for some of us. At least it is for me if I am not able to achieve a goal that I want to achieve very desperately. But I think that's the best thing to do, is to just leave it alone and sink so that you can float. So these were the 7 practical ways to get your work done effectively and surely. No BS advice, just concepts and ways that you can get your work done. So yeah, that was it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video till the very end, and I will see you in another one. Till then, bye bye.